Greetings, my name is Dr. Ed Vieira, and I am an Associate Professor and Research Director at Simmons College School of Management. SAGE's Encyclopedia of Media Violence, which was published in 2013, contains my article covering the topic, Aggressive Personality. In light of the recent shootings, the issue of violence and its causes are covered in the media and discussed repeatedly in an attempt to understand why people conduct such egregious acts. What is an aggressive personality? What constitutes a violent act? What causes someone to become violent? There is no precise definition of aggression. However, we will define it as follows. Aggression may be defined as some form of short-term, immediate, intentional, and unwelcomed harm from one party that is directed against another party. Further, scholars and researchers continue to debate whether it is nature or nurture that drives human aggression. Is this forced dichotomy appropriate? Must it be nature versus nurture? Perhaps it is both. Let us start with the role of nature. When we consider nature as affecting or forming the aggressive personality, we must consider evolutionary psychology, what is passed down from parents, from a biological standpoint, the amygdala and the limbic system in the brain, as well as neurotransmitters and impaired neurological processes. Is the aggressive personality beyond a person's control, we might ask? Is a person predetermined to be violent with little or no control over such tendencies? Evolutionary psychology. From a psychoevolutionary perspective, all humans possess the potential to aggress. It is a carryover from ancient times when the ability of humans to dominate through violence was used to continue the genetic line. For instance, scientists study the relationship between testosterone and social aggressive behaviors in men. Some scientists posit that this hormone evolved to assist in the mating process and propagation of genes. Some researchers believe that as much as 50% of personality is derived from biological parents. In a number of studies, correlations were found between aggression and sibling twins, identical and non-identical. This association was stronger for identical twins, thus suggesting that more than environmental factors account for the correlation. What biological mechanism is responsible for aggression? The amygdalae, which are part of the limbic system, and the frontal lobe in the cerebral cortex are the areas of the brain that play important roles in regulating aggression. The amygdalae, located in the older brain, are responsible for the flight or fight response. These parts of the brain are reactive and can facilitate impulsive aggressive behaviors. The frontal lobe controls, modulates, and makes sense out of reactive responses from the amygdalae so that it can inhibit aggression through the cognitive processing and evaluating of contextual information, such as assessing consequences to reacting aggressively and also empathizing with others. Additionally, research has discovered links among levels of aggression and chemical neurotransmitters such as serotonin and dopamine. Low levels of these neurotransmitters in the amygdala and frontal lobe have been associated with aggression, excitation, and aggression disinhibition, respectively. Research findings suggest that these neurological relationships are complex and may involve interactions with any of 50 or more other neurotransmitters. Impaired neurological processes can occur in a number of ways. Congenital deficits can cause imbalances in the levels of neurotransmitters, resulting in increased or decreased aggression. Limbic or cortical dysfunction can occur through chromosomal anomalies, disease, or injury. In short, any disruption of normal functioning can cause a rise or decline in aggression, regardless of environmental factors. In line with social learning theory, people learn by observing others in the same room, on television, or in video game play. People also learn by modeling observed behaviors, especially when that behavior is rewarded and is thus reinforced. Huseman proposed that learning specifically occurs through scripting. Scripts are knowledge structures stored in memory that serve as the basis for learning and behaviors, especially so in children. Observed or acted behaviors are compared to existing scripts and knowledge structures. Some scripts are adopted and others are not. Adopted scripts and their associated behaviors become part of our choices for future behavior. Violent behaviors can be automatically activated or triggered without much thought through a priming mechanism. Experimental research has found that seeing a picture of a gun or weapon can prime or activate aggressive thoughts. This activation spreads to related concepts as well. For example, let us say that a child watches a television program where a cartoon character hits his friend every time he disagrees with him. The child may adapt this aggressive behavior in real life when he or she disagrees with his or her friends and may actually encourage others to do the same as well. In the long term, each repeated exposure to such violent behavior, whether taking place in a video game, television, or real life, is like another learning trial. Over time, the activated scripts become more ingrained and more readily accessible with each subsequent exposure. The effects are stronger when connected to real-life experiences, thus contributing to the development of an aggressive personality. Moreover, recent research suggests that an aggressive predisposition can increase the influence of media violence on aggression, forming a feedback loop that reinforces aggressive behavior. There are mental or environmental state conditions that act as stressors and can contribute to aggressive behaviors and often operate in tandem with exposure to media violence. Some of the major ones are psychological frustration, anger, impulsivity, physiological arousal, physical or verbal assaults, an uncomfortable environment where there's excessive heat, unpleasant noises, darkness, poverty, and drugs. Driven by exposure to media violence and other social learning factors, these situational factors can trigger an immediate aggressive episode. Although many researchers claim that media violence and other environmental factors are key players in aggressive behavior, they alone may not be the only causes. Where biological bases of aggression are present and can be impulsively activated, environmental influences work together over time to perpetuate an aggressive personality. It is likely that a convergence of a number of environmental and biological conditions, many of which I discussed here, contribute to aggressive personalities and behaviors like a key unlocking a door. All the tumblers must open at the same time to unlock it. Thank you for your interest in the aggressive personality.